Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Kahaaniyaan. It feels like several aeons as Gen Con just happened this weekend. As you know, and if you had tuned into Huetopia, we did a whole bunch of panels along with several other channels. And that is over, and I feel like I've aged another 10 years. But that aside, welcome to this Sarzameen campaign show. We are now on episode 3, and we have completed some interesting things in game. But before we get into that, let's quickly go around the table and introduce the players and tell us where we can find you. Let's start with, I don't know, why don't we just have it free for all? You know, I'm chaotic like that. Who wants to go first?
All right. Hey, I'm Bashir Gauss. I am a freelancer and indie game developer. You can find me at Bashir Gauss on Twitter, at Bashir Gauss on Twitter, and at havocfet.itch.io, where you can check out my games. You can also find me writing and consulting for many companies in the industry. Pronouns are he, him, and I play Rahim.
Who'd like to go next?
I'll go next. Why not? Hi, I'm Morgan. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns interchangeably. You can find me on all the socials at Serena Bezos. I forgot what else I need to say, but I play Tulsi, who uses they, them pronouns. Hey. Yeah.
We're all professionals here.
I'm an adult.
I can go next. Hi, everybody. My name is Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I play Jantli Tahid, the doctor of this wonderful, wonderful campaign. You can find me on Twitter at by Connie Chung. I'm also the GM and executive producer for Transplanar RPG, which you can find on Twitch and Twitter.
And that leaves me. My name is Anino. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Anino Gaming. And in the Kahaaniyaan campaign, I play Nibir, though nobody knows his real name yet. So, yeah, you probably just hear him called as Gojin, who also uses he, him pronouns. And does, well, I guess you'll figure out sooner or later what he actually does.
Yeah, currently I believe the overlay has the name as Gojin.
It does.
It does. I can change it if you'd like. I think I forgot to do that. But also everyone keeps calling you Gojin. All right. And I am your guide, Mariam. You can find me on Twitter at media_junkie. You can also find me skulking around in Huetopia, even though I am a co-caretaker. But yeah, I skulk as a caretaker. Hey! Also, you can find me on the Massafers and also on Prism Pals. And with that being said, I like to do recaps by having the players give the recaps. Of course, if there's any very important information, I will fill the gaps. But I enjoy delegating this task to all of you.
For the people who haven't taken notes, what do you remember so us with notes can fill in the holes?
So I remember we perused the items at the auction. Gojin might have experimented with a couple of the items in a manner that the auctioneers did not appreciate. The name of the particular bowl that he stuffed his mother's snacks in proved to be a bit on the vomitous side of things after carefully analyzing how exactly those snacks were prepared. Gojin ended up with a bowl that tells friend from foe, as well as a overexcited sword, which is just dying to cut into someone, which is going to make for a lot of interesting conflict with a mostly pacifist owner now.
Yeah, that covers a couple of things. I feel like there were also some moments that were had between Junsely and Tulsi.
I mean, yes. Let's see. It all started with a pouch. It had some seeds in it. They were old. Uh, Tulsi got in trouble for touching them. Got kicked out of the Nami. But eventually, they won them at the auction, and they also won some alchemist. Wait, no, where are my notes? Some sort of
Potions?
potions, yes. And they're unlabeled, and Tulsi gave them to Johnsley to keep and to experiment, because, yeah.
That is true. Yes, Johnsley ended up with 2 items from the auction, one of which she won fair and square, and the other one of which she was given out of the kindness of their heart by Tulsi. Johnsley won this thing called the perspicacious pot that she has lovingly named Sibital. It's basically this fine silver pot that she is discovering if you put stuff into it, it'll tell you how to make it. The instructions will appear in imagery around the side of the pot, which is very exciting. Can't wait to abuse the heck out of that. And after the auction, a lot of things happened. We went to the hotel that... Who was staying at the hotel?
Me.
Why did we go there in the first place? Yes.
Rahim's character.
Rahim. I forgot. Yes, Rahim went to the hotel, and we also followed him to the hotel, while the rest of us sort of spent time in the bar just playing around. Rahim had quite a revelation in his hotel room.
Yeah, yeah, so Rahim, at the auction, investigated a couple of items, figured out which one probably had the ring in it, got that, and after that went pretty well, and pretended to be a wealthy buyer to some of the people there. We'll see if that comes back later. I'm sure it won't. We have bigger problems at the moment. Well, Rahim has bigger problems at the moment. Everyone else is doing basically fine. Went back to the hotel with everyone else, took the items, took his item up, broke it open, these nice clay one of these nice clay statues to figure out what was inside. Found the jewel he was looking for attached to a magic ring, and decided, just putting it out there, to put it on and see what it was like. And this was a mistake. It is now bound to his finger. Each time he uses it, it may kill him. He does not know that, and it has phenomenal cosmic power. Also, he is under contract to return it to people who probably shouldn't have it because they were regularly using a ring that eats people to get material wealth. Whereas Rahim will be using the ring that eats people for the much more noble purpose of amusing himself.
The Pursuit of Amusement. The new book by Rahim.
Yep.
All right. With that said, we now go back to the next day. I believe Tulsi was camping out at Junsley's quarters, and Junsley specifically. When do you wake up in the morning, and how do you wake up in the morning?
I assume Junsley has some sort of fantasy medieval alarm set up to wake her up pretty much right at 6 a.m. in the morning. She gets up immediately, takes her flask, which is always on her bedside table, takes a swig, gets up, like goes into the bathroom, does her thing, you know, and by 6:15 she is completely put together. She strides briskly, like completely decked out in clothes, makeup, hair, everything's done. She strides into the living room, and which is connected to her kitchen area, and she begins like putting together a quick breakfast. And as she does, she glances over at the sleeping form on her couch.
It's more like just like a little curled up lump than anything else. Their hair is out of their braid and sort of just like tossed it over their head, and like their hair also goes like to their waist. So it's pretty long and just looks like the girl from The Ring, like pretty.
John Lee just lets out kind of a and without even checking to see if Tulsi's awake or alive, even she goes, "Are you vegetarian?"
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I have some rice porridge out for you with some pickled radishes on the table. I'm gonna go take a little jog, my morning workout, but I'll be back before 7. Help yourself to anything in the ice box. And John Lee is going to just sort of give one last glance to Tulsi, and she's gonna go out for a jog.
Yeah, as you head out for a jog, you notice, as you pass by the front of your clinic, perhaps, do you jog by the front?
Yes, absolutely.
You notice the door slightly ajar.
Oh boy.
But before we get to that, Rahim, how do you wake up in the morning?
He wakes up kind of like, wow, that was a really weird dream I had. Oh. Well, I am going to have to deal with this, aren't I? And he, like, gets up slowly, pulls out a book that's just kind of filled with fake names and the people he's used them with, and looks up which one he used when he got this specific job. And starts trying to, like, cross-reference that with, where else have I used that? And who are they going to be looking for when they figure out what's happened? And I think that's kind of what he's doing in the immediate morning. So he's probably relatively late coming out to like eat or otherwise socialize, because he is trying to he is planning ahead for the first time in a bit.
Awesome. And just for anyone who hadn't tuned in the previous episode, the size of the gem is like ring pop size. It's massive.
Yeah.
It's hard to miss. Nabir/Gojin, how do you wake up in the morning?
With so much energy that it would be annoying to anyone who would share quarters with them, because he is, after all, very much a former plantation owner, and he would have gotten up early before the sunrise to do some morning work, which was basically delivery of, various fresh produce across the city to the restaurants before they open their doors and things like that. So at this time, he would probably have finished his first 2 rounds of that and is sitting, outside of the hotel he had been staying at, and is now having some tea.
And what tea is it?
He is sampling a oolong tea, which he had never had before, but managed to find some at this local market. And so he is carefully evaluating it versus the traditional Assam black tea that he is used to.
Wonderful. We go back now to Johnslee. And Johnslee, you see the door ajar. What do you do?
Oh boy. Okay, she's like sort of like, she's like in like, I don't know, like mile 1/2 of her jog. She like goes a long way around, doesn't pass by the clinic the first time around. So she's like a little sweaty, like her heart rate's up, already elevated, right? So when she sees the door, she like jogs past it at first, stops, still running in place, backs up and goes, what the, I thought I locked it last, and she's gonna go in.
Okay. As you go in, you see what looks like mini explosions all over the place. Like, no potions or anything broken, but the apparatus, the glass, the porcelain, all the tools that are used to house tests or to grab samples or to make your poultices and make your potions and everything. Whatever, it looks like someone came in with a ball and just went to town playing indoor squash in this room.
Johnson's gonna sort of like take a minute. She's gonna look around. Is there anyone else in the room, or is she alone?
No, there doesn't seem to be a creature or a humanoid in sight.
Okay, Johnson very slowly closes the door behind her and locks it. And I think it's right before 7 probably when this happens, as she knows the clinic opens at like 7:30.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, don't panic. Don't panic. It's going to be okay. You can fix this. The damage is extensive, I'm assuming, like wrecked.
Yeah, like none of the structure is wrecked. It's just, when a stray ball just with full force goes nuts at a bunch of like clay, porcelain, and glass dishes and containers and jugs and whatever, it's just a mess. You need to replace all those items.
Oh my goodness. Okay, can I just very quickly do a cost benefit analysis? Like, how much stuff has been damaged? Like, is it gonna cost me my job?
No. You probably have the resources to replace it if you're quick and if you know someone who could sell those things to you.
Oh my goodness.
Because again, quest doesn't do money. But the things that are of concern is the mess that needs to be cleaned up within the very short time, as well as being able to get those very common items to replace them in a short time, as the bazaars are not quite open yet. Like some of the food vendors, especially like the fish and produce, they're open basically crack of dawn. But for things like pottery and non-food stuff, they open a little later, like 8 or 9 or 10. Luckily, you know someone who delivered such items yesterday.
I do. I am immediately starting to clean. I'm like grabbing the broom, I'm sweeping it up, I'm scrubbing stains, I'm looking for the offending ball, if there is one, or any tracks that might point me to the culprit, to whom I would like to have a stern talking.
You certainly can. I would like you to roll a d20, please.
Oh boy, here we go.
Dulcie, meanwhile, while we figure out the fate of what is happening, how do you wake up in the morning?
Well, apparently by John's lady yelling at me saying that he's porridge, asking me if I'm vegetarian.
All right.
So yeah, I think Tulsi's sitting there after Johnson's left and just sort of like staring into space, just like trying to gain consciousness and like rubbing their eye and eventually stretching their feet out, and then stands up to start doing like some sort of like movement of yoga, like just like going through some sort of stretching formation, just to get the body moving. And their hair's still down, so it's all like Rapunzel style, just like in their face and in the way, and like eventually once they are somewhat coherent, they'll start braiding their hair.
All right. We'll come back to you in a moment. Gently, what was your roll?
It's a 5.
All right. That means that it is a failure. And and a couple of other things. Sorry, it's I usually have my here it is there. Uh, you also face a setback. So here's your setback. As you're cleaning up, you hear a very loud, stern voice that you really wish you did not hear right this moment say, "And what is this?"
Oh my goodness. Okay. I turn around and I face the music.
You see the essentially the main healer, the healer whose clinic this is, staring, both hands on hips, and looking at what lies before you.
Yep. I go, "Hi, boss. Look, there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for all of this. And the number one, which is, it's not my fault. Number one, I swear I locked the door. I don't know what it was doing ajar. I mean, what door? Johnson realizes that she just sort of shot herself in the foot by admitting that the door was open. She's clearly very nervous.
And you hear a very calm but very disappointed voice say, "You know, I expected this from one of the many apprentices here, but I didn't expect it from you."
Those words are like cold daggers to John Slee's perfectionist heart. What is the name of this healer?
The name of this healer is Henna.
Henna. Okay. John Slee goes, "Henna, I swear to the gods, I locked that door behind me when I signed off for my shift last night. I don't know how this could have happened. You have to believe me."
If that's the case, she's trying to find her words, just looks at everything and says, "Between that and the septuplets, I shouldn't have to be," and kind of just has this moment of like, "I need a moment. I am going to go cool off," and just walks off. Dulcie, you hear, as you're braiding, you hear, "What is this?" Like a muted but very loud and very clear. And you hear a variety of like sounds, like pottery shards and everything being cleaned, very kind of being huddled before the "What is this?" And then you hear like murmuring. You can't really hear everything as the tone goes down, but you think you hear.
I stick my ear to the floor to see if I can hear something more.
Yeah, with that you kind of make out there is another person and Junsely and some sort of being taken to task happening. And Junsely like, "I'm sorry," or a similar like, "I swear I wasn't here when this happened," and a storming off.
I think Tulsi's gonna quickly finish braiding their hair. Does it sound like Johnson's coming back, or?
No. You probably hear more pottery shards being scraped as John Slee very frantically begins sweeping up the rest of the mess in front of her boss.
I don't even know if like John Slee likes coffee or tea or anything. So I think Tulsi's gonna start like raiding the kitchen and be like, "What kind of hot beverage can I make?"
You definitely would find some tea in the cabinets, as well as a lot of coffee grounds. As you dig around in the cabinets too, you'll probably also find a lot of alcohol.
Oh.
like a lot of wine, a lot of beer, a lot of all kinds of alcohol.
Everybody's gotta have a hobby. Okay.
It's not completely out of like all that alcohol unless it's a very specific type of alcohol. It's not really out of place at a healer's center or someone who is a healer because you use it in various concoctions and potions and things. But it's a
Others.
lot.
But I was like to say, but quality wise, this is the stock room apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also like the equivalent of like Smirnoff ices in there, like the fantasy, like really frat bro, like very like like weird to be having in a healer's room.
Various states of distilling or fermenting.
Yes.
So the only thing you're not doing is making your own. Or wait, are you making your own hooch?
You don't smell anything particularly yeasty, you know?
Okay, I don't smell anything. All right. I think Tulsi, unsure of what is best, is gonna make coffee and tea, in like two different, like, and just make 2 different mugs and be like, I'll just take both, and eat the porridge, the rice porridge, just so John Slee's food's not wasted.
So, to go back very quickly to Rahim, as you are going over your list of names and everything, you hear a very polite knock on your door.
I turn around, hide the ring arm behind my back, and ask who it is.
There's a letter that was addressed to you. It was and gives the name that you had given to your client.
Excellent. I just kind of open the door. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Give him a small. We don't have currency. I can't tip.
A pat on the head.
Yeah, pat on the head, take the letter, and once the door's closed and locked, start reading.
Would you like food and drink to be sent up here?
Yes, absolutely. If you could get me fish or something with meat and something to drink, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Okay, bye. And heads off. Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm gonna close the door, bar the door, check the window, open the letter, start reading.
Yeah, the letter is simply a very basic saying, "Oh, how is the search going? I hope you have enough funds to find what we were looking for. It is very important to find this quickly and discreetly, as the coup by my uncle is happening at a rate faster than I anticipated. My son will be coming into Takhtabad to liaise with you shortly. By the time and with the reading of the letter, the date on it, and the time written, you get the sense maybe either later today or possibly tomorrow, as early as that, the sun should be arriving.
Well, that's very worrying. I need to start looking for a... I'm going to need to start preparing ahead, I think, to at least have a conversation with this sun.
Yeah. With that, Tulsi, I assume you go towards Junsley.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make sure that all the seeds are back in the pouch. The pouch is on me. I don't leave anything in the house. I bring the two cups and I delicately try to go down the stairs. And then I make my way to the front of the clinic And is the door still closed at this time, or are they open now because it's open to the public, or?
I think it was left open, wide open by Henna as she stormed off. So unless you purposefully close the doors, they are open.
Yeah.
They are ajar in shame.
I think. Oh no, it's coming back. I don't know if you can hear the Roomba.
Even the doors disappear in directions.
Our Roomba's going off, and he likes the hallway right now. And I think Tulsi's gonna be like seeing the doors ajar, just sort of like backs it up slowly, like being like knock knock.
John Sleek, just without even really looking or paying attention, goes, Henna, I'm so close to finishing everything. It'll be done in just a few. Oh, Tulsi.
I heard things happening, so and I didn't know which one you like best, so. And the left hand's tea, the right hand's coffee, so.
Oh, thank you for that. And John Sleek kind of very taken aback, takes both mugs and sort of sets them to the side. Goes, I appreciate that, Tulsi. You really didn't have to do that. Where did you did you take the grounds and the tea from my cabinets by any chance?
Yeah, you said I could, anything in the house?
Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine. You didn't see anything, weird, did you?
No.
Okay, great. Yeah, don't think that's fine. I'm just being paranoid. I'm gonna have some coffee now. And she sort of takes a gulp of this scalding hot coffee, goes, delicious, puts it back down, and she is going to say, Tulsi, do you have a spare moment?
Yeah, you need some help?
Yes, please. I would appreciate that.
And they just roll up their sleeves and like start, and they actually pull their braid up into a bun so it's out of the way.
Mm-hmm. And it's John Slee's frantically cleaning things up. She's also like low-key like micromanaging how Tulsi helps her clean. She's like, oh, actually that goes there.
Okay.
Oh, you missed a spot over there.
Oh, okay.
You want to, when you're mopping, you want to go circular, like you're drawing figure eights in the floor. You don't want to go side to side. Yeah, no, that's bad for your wrists, except for the floor. It's mahogany. And then.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's very appreciative as well. And she also comments, your hair looks nice this morning.
Oh, thanks. That's how I do it every morning, and then how it goes towards the end of the day is its own adventure.
I did notice that last night, but I guess we met when it was toward the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your help, Tulsi. I
I
really think I might be getting fired.
Oh, no, I hope not.
Of course. Yeah, me too. Just, do you mind accompanying me to the marketplace so we can buy some equipment to replace everything that was shattered? Some sort of vandal must have come in and just thrown a ball everywhere. I don't know what kind of hedonist would commit such acts of larceny, but there's all sorts of criminals and folks like that in the city.
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you. And John Slee's going to head out and post a quick "we'll be back soon" sign on the clinic doors.
Wonderful. So where do you make your way to? Is there a particular shop, or do you just go to the first cellar?
I think there is someone that the clinic does frequent business with and has a good working relationship with. Probably a. Can I just decide that they're like a bird person? Is that okay?
Who's a bird person?
This merchant. I don't know. I feel like that might be a fun touch. But if you have other ideas...
as in a bird person, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought it was like, oh, do they like birds? It took me a bit. I was like, yeah, I suppose that's fine. Yes, they are a bird person. In fact, the coloring on their feathers and features are very much in strong hues of blue and green, almost peacock-esque.
Very cool. Yeah, so John Slee goes up to this vendor immediately, maybe as they're like setting up or something. John Slee goes, look, I need a favor.
You see behind you're a very familiar face, Gojin, What are you doing at the shop at this hour?
He's picking things up and putting them down, mostly. So he's sort of just rearranging the stocks into neat little piles so that he can just grab the order and head on out. So he's probably there with the cart, just minding his own business.
Yeah, so the vendor of the shop, and the shop's name is More Goods and Services, and it's MOR. And yeah, if someone is a native speaker of Hindi or Urdu, you would know that means peacock. So, Mr. More Goods and Services.
Johnson Lee goes, "Oh, you, Gojin, was it?"
He just grunts because he's busy carrying very large armloads of crates delicately.
Sure. Oh, it's good to see you. Odd coincidence, though I suppose it makes sense since you were delivering to our clinic yesterday. Speaking of which, Mr. Moore, I have a big favor to ask.
Yes, of course. What can we do for you?
Well, some sort of incident happened at the clinic, and we are in dire need of more
The
equipment.
septuplets?
Oh, well, I'm not sure if they're related, actually. I think someone broke in and just wrecked everything last night. I'm still unsure about the details, but the end point is we have a lot of broken equipment, and we need it to be replaced today, right now.
Okay, sure. Let me see if I have more of that equipment. Oh, I love saying that word. And it goes into the back to search. And at the moment, it is just the three of you outside while that is happening. If you would like to continue any more conversations.
So you move boxes for a living?
Odds and ends. I'm fairly new to the city and, just looking for an opportunity to join a merchant caravan and see more of the continent.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't recall seeing you at Moore's stand before. You must have just come into the city.
For the most part, I tend to be an early worker and, move around the city fairly regularly.
I'm sorry, if you told me earlier this week or yesterday, I must have forgotten. Where did you say you were from again?
Oh, he just waves his hand vaguely. Northeast.
Yep. Just that general cardinal direction, understood. Johnson's gonna take it as like he's kind of reclusive about his past, and turn to Tulsi and say, "Isn't that interesting? Both of you just recently came into the city looking for your own destinies or what have you."
I think Tulsi was listening and talking, and then sees a neighborhood cat and starts trying to make friends with it, and then yeah, what? Yes.
But you're looking for a cure for an illness of some sort?
I mean, I was just wondering if you ever heard of it. The illness is come and gone, so.
Yes. Well, I'm afraid I never have. And then Johnson remembers the diagnosis that she read on Tulsi when Tulsi first came in, and pauses and looks at this kind of bubbly, person, and is like broken heart. Doesn't seem like them. I've never heard of such a thing. But she's curious, and she goes, "So, ever experienced trauma?"
And I think as Johnsley's talking again, I think Tulsi still has their hand out trying to pet the cat, and as no, I don't know, yeah.
Yes, sorry I realize how weird that question must have been. It's just, The illness you were trying to get identified, I'm assuming it affected someone in your family.
Yeah, my grandma.
And she passed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right. I mean, that's how life is sometimes, right? Like, unfortunately, it just happened whenever I need her the most. But I'm okay now. I'm fine.
How long
Oh, there goes
ago
that
was
cat.
this? Oh.
The cat just like runs off.
Yeah, the cat has now hopped onto a crate that Gojin is currently trying to lift. And just the tail's now running up the nostrils.
Yeah, so Gojin sneezes, and the crate actually is let go for a moment, but he manages to catch it on his knee and, pack it away carefully. He just stares at the cat. Not menacingly, but sort of, I'm watching you. I know what you did right here.
A very, like, that was a personal offense, and I have taken it as such.
Exactly.
This insult will not go unanswered.
And the eyes that look back at you are the full saucer eyes of like, meow.
Oh,
The uwu cat.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
No, I'm not sharing my tea with you.
Challenge accepted. You see a tail, accidentally dip into your tea, and just like, oh, whoops, and then suddenly grooming the tail.
He nonchalantly just pours out the cup and rinses it before pouring himself a fresh cup, and this time hanging on to it and just staring and sipping.
Love the visual aid. Yeah.
Yes.
Johnsley thinks to herself, I'll get to the bottom of this person's trauma. And sort of peeks around the corner to see if more is done.
Yeah, Moore at this point comes out with a very large ledger which has records of all purchases with descriptions and cost and by, a ledger. And says, so would you like a repeat of yesterday's order?
Yes, that would be lovely.
Okay, well, I can send someone by afternoon if that's okay. Does that work for you?
The afternoon? We really don't have a lot of equipment to go off of for the morning, and I'm worried if someone comes in with an emergency. Is there any way to rush it for this morning?
And Mr. Moore stares at Gojin's like, well, what are you up to? Can you help this fine doctor out today?
Well, I think it's very unfortunate that they were irresponsibly left their clinic open to such vandalism.
You say these words out loud?
Yes.
Okay. Johnsley goes, first up, excuse me. I did not leave the door open. Tulsi, you remember, right? I locked it behind me. I closed and I locked the door behind me. They must have broken in. This was definitely some sort of professional caper. They must have had tools. They must have just busted in and ruined everything. It wasn't my fault, Gojin.
I'm sure.
I think when you say Tulsi, okay. And Tulsi is like, you're like, great, Tulsi, and Tulsi's like, and then you just keep going. Tulsi's like, oh, look, the cat's back, and goes around the corner to chase the cat.
Rahim, at any point do you step out?
I think as she steps around the corner, she almost runs into Rahim, who is just kind of gently scritching the cat And he looks up and goes, "Oh, Tulsi,
Hi,
what a
Mariam.
pleasure.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were still around. I didn't know you were still here. Are you still looking for that, I apologize. What were you in town for again? You were looking for something medical, but I didn't
I was
quite
just trying to
recall
figure
what.
out a diagnosis, and then I'm also traveling, so I'm traveling. I'm here, and who knows where I'll be next.
Mm-hmm.
Johnsley and Gojin are around the corner talking stuff.
Oh, well, that's very convenient. I did, I suppose, have a question for you, and I kind of give her a description of the sun, as presumably I got a description at some point, or been told who to look out for. And just, if you, by any chance, see someone with that description, could you tell me that where and when they showed up, and importantly, under no circumstances tell them anything about me?
Okay.
All right, excellent. Related news, an entirely unrelated news. Would you let's see, would you happen to know anything about very large gloves or particularly inconspicuous splints?
Well, we can't. I mean, okay. I know for workers in the field, like whenever they're going to pick mangoes, like their hands get like a little worn, so they'll wear like hand wraps, like a lot of boxers do. So it protects their hands and fingies, like whenever they're pulling out mangoes and like going through the brush. So
He kind of looks at the size of the gem. I think that might actually make it more obvious, if anything.
Well, if you like layer it around to like even out the bulkiness, and then like you do like a soft layer over.
You know what?
Maybe.
We'll table that.
Okay.
And come back to it later. I'm going to eavesdrop on Junsley and Anino for a bit, see what's going on before I walk in.
Are we gonna do a mitten and just like have you in a cast in your hand, and then Tulsi's just like going off as you're walking away from them.
As you're walking away, the cat's following you and is actually pawing to be like carried like a little baby.
I will just pick up that cat, carry it on it, kind of on instinct, give it like some leftovers from whatever meat dish they got me at for breakfast that I was just kind of eating.
That's why you're the favorite. Yeah, so you both eventually meet up with Gojin and Junsley arguing.
Well, no, I'm eavesdropping on them arguing first.
Okay.
I'm gonna see what's going on before I come in, or wait for a sufficiently aggravating point to interrupt.
So hey, how is that conversation going?
So, as Rahim is listening in, he could just say, look, all I'm saying is that it just seems rather unprofessional to assume that you had indeed locked the door, because it's quite clear that the door became unlocked.
Of course the door became unlocked, but that's not on me. That's on whoever broke in.
I'm sorry, so who's the supervisor and authorized personnel of the office?
Well, when I'm the only one working there, it's me, but I have a boss.
I see. Okay.
Are you... I see what's going on here. You're trying to pin the blame on me so you don't have to do a rush order because you're lazy.
Whoa.
And I think Rahim chooses this moment to kind of step around a corner. What's this about a rush order I've heard? Has something gone wrong? Has there been a robbery?
And in the middle of this, Gojin is just like, listen, you don't get muscles like these. And he starts flexing to the point where his shirt sort of just tears a little bit. It's like, you don't get these from being lazy.
And now you've got holes on both your arms
Yeah.
on your long shirt.
I think Tulsi is like falling right behind Raheem, just just being like, I was petting the cat that he's holding, and I just ran into. I'm not part of this snooping.
Rahim, it's good to see you. I'm just having a conversation with Gojin here about my clinic that was broken into last night, and the vandals completely destroyed every single piece of equipment that was in there, and I'm trying to get Mr. Moore to do a rush order on new equipment to be delivered by Gojin for this morning, so just in case some sort of emergency occurs, people don't die, because equipment wasn't there. Johnsley's looking very, very flustered and perturbed.
Well, that's deeply unfortunate. I do hope you get this rush order in as quickly as possible, but if you need someone to look into what happened, I am, of course, always available. Least I could do after wasting your time the other day. That said, in a couple of days, if someone showed up with arrow or stab wounds, would you be able to deal with that theoretically?
You mean treatment-wise? Of course. Yeah. A simple arrow or stab wound should be a pretty straightforward matter.
That's great to hear. So, would you like me to look into this break-in for you? I'm of course, always available.
That would actually be lovely, Rahim. I would really appreciate that. See, some people are useful to society. Johnsley looks at Gojin.
So you're measuring use to society based on how useful they are to you. Is that right?
Well, given the fact that I am a healer, one of the pillars of a functioning civilization, I might say, yes.
Well, I mean, it's only stands to, he gestures at all of the deliveries behind him. I mean, it stands to, it's very clear that I am quite the linchpin of the continuance of business in the bazaar, given that all of these things will be delivered to their merchants. I'm just saying is that, usually these merchants would be extra generous because I bring them their goods on time, professionally, when Mr. Moore schedules them. And by delaying their orders to fulfill your last minute mishap, and he air quotes the mishap, I am sacrificing personal favors from several people just to earn your scorn.
Okay, so who is the selfish one here? Friends, Romans, countrymen. Johnsley's getting very much on a pulpit. And she goes, you know what? And she actually backs down and goes, Rahim, I'll hire you. You look big and strong. Can you carry these goods for me?
Absolutely. Like, Rahim clearly thinks about it for a moment. Like, on the one hand, I don't want to do, carry big, heavy things and do honest work for a living. On the other hand, I am expecting to possibly be stabbed or shot several times in the next several days. So, it's probably for the best to have a doctor on my side here. And this kind of second of pensive look, tongue flicks out once, comes back in. Absolutely, I would be delighted to, Johnsley. It is, after all, the least I could do to help ensure things continue going smoothly in this wonderful city.
Thank you so much, Rahim, and thank you for being an example of an upstanding citizen. And she
never
sort
got
of
called that before.
Huge changes, huge pivots. And Johnsley sort of turns to Mr. Moore and says, well, that's squared away. I have my delivery person. I can give you the money for this rush order, and if any favors need to be done for the procurement of these equipment items on such short notice, I will be sure to give them to you as well.
Wonderful. So cool. I'm gonna go and deal with some other stuff, and sort of gives Gojin a bit of a glare of, like, you get the sense it's like, I know you have a lot of deliveries, but this was rude, and walks off. Uh, Gojin, why don't you tell me a little bit about your relationship with more goods and services, in terms of, like, what sort of a rapport you have with Mr. Moore?
So Gojin's a relatively um, new hire for Mr. Moore. Not a lot of people like to work for Mr. Moore. Let's say that there's a very high turnover rate at his store because of instances like this, where you have last minute orders that need to be filled, and thus extending the days of workers and such. So, but Gojin is is the first person to sort of just stand up for himself, and protect his zone of work. Now, he doesn't really care whether or not Mr. Moore is unhappy, because he's going to have a tough time finding someone who can work as long as Gojin does. The clinic is a fair distance away, and I'm pretty sure that Gojin has the only cart. So,
Yep.
so Rahim is going to have to make several trips back and forth with very heavy crates, or risk dropping and breaking everything on the way.
Yep, and the cat that has since left Rahim's arms is now incredibly bossy in affection at the moment. Yeah, the reason why Mr. Moore just gave you a look rather than, I don't know, firing you, is for those reasons, pretty much. And basically does thank you so much for understanding, and I'm glad this all worked out, and have a nice day, and if you need anything more, you know where to come. And gives, like,
Thank you.
including almost a fanning of feathers, and then leaves to deal with other orders.
Mm-hmm. Johnsley sees the huge mountain of crates that need to be delivered, and she's gonna go, okay, Rahim, there's a lot, so I'll make sure to pay double for your time and effort, of course. I have to go take care of the clinic. Can you make sure to get the most essential equipment first?
Absolutely. And Rahim is going to try and get a cart off of someone else to do all this a little more quickly and easily.
Okay.
Yeah, there's several. In fact, there's, like, rickshaws that and sort of carts for hire that you can just grab, and you actually, you know what? I feel like this is a perfect use of a roll to see how efficiently you manage to get these to the clinic.
Excellent. 11.
11. Yeah. You managed to easily find a cart for hire, or borrow from the many, and you managed to bring it, I'd say, about half hour or an hour after Junsley has left. Dulcie, what do you do in this meanwhile as Junsley makes her way back?
Johnsley's making her way back. Gojin's doing his work. Rahim is doing the work that Johnsley paid for. I think Tulsi's kind of, like, at a loss of what to do, so I think they're going to, like, wander around and try to find, like, a flower pot, maybe?
Yeah, there's lots
then
of flower pots in that area, because where you were basically close to not just general goods, but also sort of artisan things. So there's one area where it's nothing, like, it's a clay, like a sculptor who makes all sorts of pots and bands and things that people can use out of clay that are fired, unfired, etc.
I think Tulsi, they're trying to find one that has like maybe like a macrame sort of hole to it, so like you can hang it.
Yeah, there's definitely one.
And they're probably gonna sit outside the clinic. They're not gonna be in the clinic with doing their experiments, but they can make some dirt and some soil, and stick it in the pot, and take one of the seeds, and just make a divot for the seed, put the seed in the soil, cover the soil, and gets like maybe they have like a little like wort of water and like pours a little bit of water in there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, all right, let's see if this works, and just hugs the thing.
Okay, so as you put it in, nothing happens initially, but almost immediately you feel a vibration in the pot.
Oh, buddy.
And the pot doesn't break completely, but it's almost like you have a healthy sapling already. It's not a tree yet, but it's a sapling. It just like within moments, all the roots are coming, they're spidering out of the thing there, and through the holes, some of the soil is falling. Sort of like it just sprouts. It's like
Oops.
2 or 3 feet tall.
Oh no. And you see Tulsi, I guess if you look through the windows, that alleyway that Raheem was originally looking through.
Yeah.
You just see this tree and like the top of Tulsi's head just like sort of like run by. As they're running to like an area, like a park or something, to like find a better area to like.
There is an area close, like not too far from the healing center, since it's closer to the outskirts just a little bit. Henna's Holistic Healing is the name of the place. There is a small. First of all, there is a garden attached to this, which is mainly for herbs.
There's no space. I must go
Yeah.
I think they pause there and they look and they're like, "Nope, not gonna happen."
And then behind it, like say about 30-40 feet away, there is essentially just natural grounds that have not been used for any purpose.
Yeah, I think they're like, I'm sorry, and like apologizing to the tree as they're like trying to pull like them off the little like pot, which I think the pot probably fell.
The pot is like if you don't have to do much shaking. You just move like as you were running and like, oh my god, I'm sorry. But there's a trail of pottery behind you. Like,
and then eventually the
glitter dust.
Yeah. And then eventually the macrame rope, and then I think Tulsi's gonna quickly try to like use their hands to like dig a little hole in the dirt and just plant the tree and like just scoop it back in and be like, all right, I think we're good now. It's like,
and you notice now like there's a rumbling underground, but you don't see anything shooting out from the outside, but you can sense more roots are taking hold below. Like you can just sense it. And the tree starts to grow like maybe another foot or two and then stops. Like, okay, I'm good for now.
Okay, so it's about Tulsi's height now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still very willowy, still very tender and young. But this is a whole bunch of growth in several moments.
I think Tulsi's like, okay, all right, no more rumbling, no more breaking. Okay, all right, and just sort of pats the trunk a bit, just be like, all right, Fran, and then sort of just like stare and just stares at the tree, just waiting, like knees curled up to chest, like sort of just like watching paint dry almost.
Yeah. So Rahim, as you enter with the cart of goods and everything, the clinic is now pretty much open, but it's sort of a slow day. There's not many people in yet. You see Junsley frantically cleaning up the place, mostly done at this point. and there's a group of young apprentices, about 3 or 4 of them, that are giggling in the corner and sort of like kind of just watching Junsley do stuff. And you hear like, oh, I'm surprised she hasn't lost her job yet. Oh, like, and they start saying things on the lines of, like, this is what happens when a new person is left in charge and is not ready for it.
Are these the ones who were supposed to be on duty yesterday and weren't?
You wouldn't know that,
Oh.
but for Junsley, yes.
Okay, so
these are the mysterious purple dot disease that has also mysteriously cleared up by the time they showed in for work today.
I think Rahim drops off the stuff, like, thanks Johnson and asks, are these the ones who, what was it? These the guys who were missing yesterday?
Yes, that purple dot disease or whatever. By now, of course, it's miraculously gone.
How fortunate, he says, like, very loudly, that this truly serious disease disappeared in a matter of hours. What sorts of trouble might have happened if it hadn't? Have you been through quarantine? Have you been through a quarantine yet to ensure you're fit to come back to work? I understand that you'd have to pay for it, of course, and that such a thing would be deeply miserable, but I'm sure that with a bit of leeway, I'm sure that with a bit of work on your part, and as healers, you're of course entirely willing to deal with the consequences of the illness, it shouldn't be too unpleasant. Do they still scald you during quarantine, Junsley? Or have they stopped doing that recently?
Oh.
Oh no.
Starting to pick up on what Rahim's putting down, maybe? This sort of quasi-threatening aura. Did you say scald or scold?
Scald,
like with hot water?
Yeah. Boiling hot water, make sure you're not carrying any bacteria on you.
Right. That practice hasn't stopped, and it's backed up by quite a few medical journals. Yes, a quarantine period and a thorough scalding of the skin is recommended, and dare I say, required.
And you notice that all 3 of them kind of turn very nervous and say, like, well, of course we had a scalding bath last night.
Oh, who signed off on it? If you don't mind me asking, I don't deliver often, but I was unaware that someone had managed to clear you for work so quickly after you had came in with such a horrible disease. I've seen people suffer greatly over the next weeks and months after seemingly recovering from
As have I. Yes, Rahim, yes. All true and valid concerns. If I recall correctly, your supervisor has to sign off on the scalding, and hold on, I'm your supervisor.
And the face, all 3 faces pale just a little more. And I say, well, I mean, look at us, we're fine. No purple dots. We're okay. And we did the right thing by not coming in so that we didn't affect everyone. Mm-hmm. And you gave me the scalding bath, right? Didn't you, Tina? Yes, of course, Mina. I did that. And then you did that for me. And there's now trying to sort of backpedal so quickly.
Johnson just sort of nods and says, so if you're totally healthy and hale now, correct?
Yes, of course, we can work today. Wonderful, perfectly. Yes, actually, why don't we help you with the boxes? Come on, Tina.
Actually, I think we're all set with the boxes, but the poop buckets need cleaning.
And they quickly scurry away.
Oh yeah. Bedpan duty. Duty.
Rahim just gives her a thumbs up and
one of them
biggest shit
is
eating
like,
grin.
"Oh, I feel like some herbs need to be picked for today," and then just as that's saying, they just like take a beeline. It's like, that's not fair, Lena. How could you leave us alone? And then Mina's like, wait, I think you need an extra hand for the trees. And Tina's the one left alone with bedpan duty.
You with bedpan duty, heck yeah. So Johnson just sort of turns to Rahim and returns the shit-eating grin. And sort of like, as soon as they're alone, says, thank you.
Not a problem. The trick is, most people don't check if you're lying until they're sure they're not going to get in trouble first. And then he's just going to kind of start making his way out, pause, say, do you know anything about the local library or archive? I've got to do some crash political research for
For your... Yeah, and Johnson sort of gestures and nods at the hand and says, you know, if you don't mind waiting, of course I could direct you to the library and the archive section. I'm quite familiar with myself. But I could definitely help you look through any scrolls or research that you might want to pour over when my shift's over. I do feel bad about the... She leans in and says, the curse.
Yeah, I mean, you know...
And at this point, you see a tree and what looks like a very young tree, and Tulsi's head bobbing away in the window that you can view, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
And Rahim just
hold on, what the...
starts to say something, looks over, and freezes. We should probably make sure that isn't... I'm going to make sure that isn't a disaster.
Yes, please do. I think I have to stay here for the clinic, but please make sure Tulsi's okay.
Yeah. And Rahim kind of just dashes out to see what's going on with the trees.
You get there just in time to see the tree finish planting, and seeing it grow a foot or two extra, as Tulsi is like, okay.
Yes.
So, Tulsi,
Yes. I think
forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure I'm familiar with this specific breed of tree.
Oh, hi, Rahim. I didn't realize you were here. Yes, hi.
Yes,
This is a tree, and I think Tulsi's gonna be like lean all casually on it, just be like,
And
yes.
it's bending just a little bit because
They
it's still
stop and
very
just like
young.
hug it.
I don't think they normally grow that quickly. Am I mistaken?
What? This thing? Who said it grew so fast? I didn't. Did you?
So fast, you say?
No, I did not say.
Is this going to be a recurring sort of problem, or with it grown, is it going to stop growing?
See, the thing about experimentations and like given unknown seeds, you gotta figure it out as you go.
Does the tree do anything, or does it just grow quickly? Right, you have to figure it out as you go.
Supposedly, these are supposed to be new friends and companions.
He looks at the tree, looks at you,
Rahim,
looks at the tree.
you notice a knot in the tree that kind of, there's two holes and then one hole below and what looks to be a scar like this, like a curve.
That's horrifying. He just sees the face.
Does he say that out loud?
Yeah, he like kind of whispers it, like,
Okay.
"Oh, that's horrifying."
Okay, I don't think Tulsi heard you then.
But
yeah, Tulsi's like sort of like has an arm around it, has like their head like leaned against it, and just like, yeah, my friend.
And you notice that as says my friend, the two circular shapes that look like eyes sort of lean in, and the whole face kind of turns, leaning in.
Friend.
Was there any, I don't know, humor me here, weird warnings attached to the bag of seeds? Some dire curse? Ancient nature overrunning the realms of settled
No,
peoples?
It's just supposed to be friends and companions that are in the bag. That's what the bag said.
And
How quickly?
at this point, two very willowy, almost they could easily snap, branches just come out, and on each of like the ends, there's like 3 leaves on each, like a jazz hands.
Look, it's doing a stretch. It's doing a big stretch.
And one seems to sort of bend in the wind to almost like shoulder, and it kind of is smacking you in the face just a little with the leaves.
It's refreshing.
That is not the most worrying thing I've seen today. You know what? I'm going to give it a pass.
Glad I had your approval.
I'm just going to pretend I didn't see this and that there is not a tree with a face and arms. And
Oh, it has a face now? Oh, yeah.
And yeah,
hello.
you see a face, and the face kind of just it seems to very it's the same thing. It just seems to, like, if this were a vector art thing, it just seems to rotate, or like it doesn't resize, it just rotates in direction to stimuli. So it kind of looks at you, and the smile that was lopsided kind of straightens itself. So it's like,
yeah, look, friend. It did work.
just
well, I have a noble family to research, so you know I'm going to leave you and your new friend to it. Is it stuck there, or is it?
We'll find out.
Okay, good to know. The kind of just.
And as you're leaving, you notice that the way the wind's blowing, it's doing.
I do not wave back.
Yeah, let's go back to Gojin a little bit. Hey Gojin, what you doing?
So Gojin is making his way through the city, delivering all of the orders. But there's an extra pep to his step. He still feels a little angry at the insinuations leveled by a certain physician. So he's pushing his cart along aggressively and making sure that everything is getting to their proper destinations ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's do a general roll for that to see how efficiently your day goes.
D20, right?
Yes.
18.
18, yeah. It goes as planned. You manage to figure out an efficient route. You manage to deliver things, and you're actually done way ahead of schedule. And you have some free time. I will say, as you pass by, you notice a strange tree and a young person kind of hugging. That was not there before, and you recognize it as Dulcie. En route.
So he's staring at this as he's walking, and he will accidentally barrel and trip over a group of shoppers.
Yeah.
elderly shoppers. So it's a whole big to do.
Yeah, Dulcie, you hear the commotion and see.
Yeah. Oh. Oh no, people. Oh, Gojin. Oh no, smaller people. Oh shoot.
Look where you're going, old young man.
My apologies. And he will actually lift them back up onto their feet.
You
with,
hear lots of cricks and cracks as bones, not in a harmful way, just sort of like, when you go from one position to another, the crick and crack if they are not spring chickens.
Sure.
And sort of like, thank you, but you should not be. You should look where you're going, especially with that cart.
Right on. And he just sort of sheepishly pushes his cart further along. But he will actually stop in the bazaar and check out see if there, some tea merchants that might have come into the town recently, and just investigate their wares.
Yeah. So there is definitely tea from the Far East of various blends, as well as many herbal teas and concoctions that come from various parts of the continent. Floral teas, herbal teas, some more luxurious blends where there's hints of saffron put in, maybe fruit teas as well, that you prepare with dried fruit, uh, and even some nut teas, which again you use a combination of nuts and herbs and flowers, and there's all of our variety different combos, and you actually see a blend that has come in that is being called a blend, the name as such, because I cannot pull it up right now fast enough, so I will just admit defeat and say is a very familiar name. A name of one person you certainly left behind, who will probably be very mad at you. It is your betrothed. Or the blend is called their name blend. What is their name, so that I don't have to look through all of the notes?
Shit.
Yeah.
I will have to pull up. Oh no, it's Balvinder.
Yeah, so the Balvinder blend.
Oh, excuse me. Would you mind if I sample this?
Of course, and prepares a small sipping cup for you.
Okay. So, I just wonder how bitter it might come out.
It is actually.
So he will sip it.
It is actually a very bold taste. It's definitely your family's blend, but it is punchier somehow. It is more vibrant. It is like an aggressive bunch of flavor. And there is a slight bitterness to it, but it's not a bad bitterness. It's kind of like, no, you will take this bitterness and you will like it.
Yeah. Well, just matters. I guess this is nice. Maybe could have been balanced out a little better. And the merchant will just hear him muttering, like, yeah, they probably left this out a little too long to dry and didn't do the proper folds in order to rack the leaves up in the sort of thing. And so he just starts muttering about the preparation or the proper preparation of this particular leaf, and then hands the cup back.
Huh. Well,
I give it a B-.
okay. Thanks. I will definitely let the traders know. The suppliers know what the opinion is. Thank you. Thank you.
They sort of just stand there awkwardly. He's like, I'll go now.
Yes.
And he'll just wander off.
And sort of has a little sip and's like, oh, that's nice. All right. Rahim, you are in search for something?
Yes, I'm looking for... Oh, did I mute myself?
No, we can hear you.
No, okay. I am looking for information on my employer's family, both like historical information, like when did they come into power? Is there any mention of them using this ring, or of succession crises before, of like someone trying to take over the family or the company from someone else? And what was it? I'm looking for like current news on, does there actually seem to be a bunch of internal strife over the fate of the company right now? Or am I being taken for a ride because I kind of didn't do that much research into whether or not, into what the nature of this job was, or at least I wasn't expecting it to involve something as magically powerful as this, and was expecting something a lot pettier.
So the Lohar family, I'm gonna say the amount of information you get will be subject to a roll.
Excellent.
How much you can get in this time period?
17.
17. All right. So you are able to find so libraries here are not quite what you think of for like public libraries. It's more like archives of different guilds. So you have to know which guild to go to get whatever relevant information you want. Like, for example, Junsley, any medical research or whatever would be definitely from any herbalist guild, any sort of medical guilds and stuff like that. So for you, you'd probably want to look at a trading guild of some kind, especially given what you know of the family, some sort of a blacksmith's guild or something of that sort where things are created, sort of general purpose. And there is a mention of the Lohar family, and that they were a family that came into power in terms of being known for being able to do very fast and quick creations of goods, more than what a person with a sort of master skill in creating these items by hand would take. And being able, like, for example, if producing a sword were to take a good 2 days to properly I don't know the proper words for how swords are created, but, to craft,
Forged.
to hone, forged. Yes, thank you. To forge swords, it would take like maybe 2 days, maybe 1 day with a master crafter, one person working on it. And somehow they were able to create almost 10 or 20 of them in that same time span. So, yeah. Which kind of, people assumed it was magic of some kind, and some sort of like magic plus skills or something. And however, it seemed to be that their method of creating all of this is going into small towns, creating a whole bunch of items, and then moving down to town. And what usually happens to the towns afterwards, especially those small towns, is that they turn into ghost towns. Like, suddenly all the workers move away. Go away. Never heard from again.
Huh. That is interesting to know. So they go into a town, they create a bunch of stuff, they kind of flood the market and cause a local market crash.
Well, the town also, it seems to be, it's not very clear. Some say, oh, the workers just go away. Some records say, oh, the workers disappear overnight and no one ever hears from them again. Or, like, it's conflicting accounts, but they all seem to lead to the same thing. The family goes into a town that is known, a small town that is known for a particular craft, create a huge amount of that, move to the next town to create more goods, and that town always it becomes an abandoned ghost town. Not literally full of ghosts, but just abandoned.
Right.
And the workers seemingly, like, disappeared.
So in character, Raham's going, oh shoot, these dudes are up to some pretty terrible business practices. I can't let them have something this powerful. Out of character, that is extremely worrying. I know exactly what's going on. That's not great. Rahim knows. I remember, Junsley, I remember you'd like limited what information you told Rahim, but you said that like there's some cost to it, right?
Yes, she was very vague about the cost. That she kind of evaded the question, but she did let slip there was some kind of cost to using it.
That is good to know. I am going, like, once Rahim figures out the basics of this, they go places, they turn them into ghost towns to produce a bunch of goods. He kind of slips a hand into his clothes and waits a minute, and I am charging my death hand, which is one of my abilities as a spy. I can spend 3 AP, so it's pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And during combat, I can use an action, and if the target is anyone I can see, if the target is a common or a minion, they die instantly. And for anyone else, it does 6 health. It does 6 damage, like no roll. So I'm just charging that up.
Okay, so you can basically hang on to it, and it doesn't.
Yeah, as written, it's 3 AP to charge it. It doesn't say anything about like. And then you use it whenever. So it's.
Okay.
I don't, yeah. As
Yeah,
I am
okay.
reading the ability, this is very much the. Oh, this is actually significantly larger than I thought it was after I got briefed on the curse. There might be some sort of horrible murder to destroy competition, or blood sacrifice to mass produce these rings, or something going on here. This is not something that should be. This is something that should have more obvious signs of what's going on. So I'm pretty sure I have accidentally found the deep shit. And he kind of thinks on it for a moment, and then he realizes, you know, oh, I've been around these 3 people for the past 2 days, and they are probably going to do first-level research into that. And he leaves to kind of give the others some sort of warning what he's gotten them into.
All right. So you could head back to the clinic at the moment. I'm gonna say that if you want to describe something you're doing in the meanwhile, that's fine, but we can also move time to the evening or close to evening with all of this being done.
Yeah, I'm good with that. So I think we're gonna meet up at, like, after Junsley is off her shift at the clinic, or...
Yeah, like you could either meet at the clinic or some sort of you could send a message, hey, meet me at this place, or something of that sort.
I think on the way out of the clinic works. Let's see. Yeah, I think on the way out of the clinic works. So, like, Johnson's offer shift heading out. Rahim's kind of fast walking down the street, and he is 7 feet tall with an enormous tail kind of swishing erratically behind him. He is a very large figure just stalking down the street. Judsley, I have this entire thing might be slightly larger than we had anticipated.
I'm sorry. What are you?
It's
Talking
still the
about
same
Johnson-
size.
The ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
large
I-
rock, but it doesn't look any bigger.
Yeah, she goes, I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate, Rahim. Just one moment. It's been a long day. The sextuplets just, I don't even want to talk about it. She's like rubbing out a knot in her shoulder. She takes a swig of her flask. She tucks her flask away and says, what was that?
So remember this has a cost when you use it. So I looked into the family that gave me the job back when I thought this was, some people yelling about a succession crisis. Their modus operandi is to move into a village famed for something, mass produce the stuff that village is famous for, and when they leave, there isn't a workforce anymore. Which means that they're either somehow burning out these people so bad with this that they can't work anymore, or they're murdering people for whatever reason associated with this thing. And there are a couple of villages that do not exist anymore, like on the records. This might be significantly larger than we thought it was when we first looked into it.
I see. Johnson sort of looks up and down the street. She goes, have a good night and stay safe, to the apprentices that skitter out of the door behind her. And she very pointedly goes, hold on, closes the door, locks it, goes, you saw that, right? You saw that?
You have a qualified witness.
And then
Thank
you
you.
hear
I did that last night.
and then you hear a jiggle from inside. It's like, wait, why is this locked? As you hear Henna.
Oh shit! She quickly unlocks it and lets her boss out. Says, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were in there still, Henna.
Yes. Yeah. Just sort of, she's had a completely different day of her own, and she's like, we will talk about this tomorrow when I've had some of that nice Bulvinder blend I've heard about, and I picked some up this morning. It is wonderful. And just mutters and goes away.
Yeah, have a good night. And then she very pointedly does a visual sweep of inside the clinic and goes, anyone else? No. And then she closes the door, locks it, and goes, I'm done. Rahim, I think we should talk about this somewhere private.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Also, what the heck was up with that tree?
I think it's alive. I mean, like, moving? It had a face and arms.
A face? Arms? Those are called branches, Rahim.
No, I mean, they were moving around and giving Tulsi a hug. It was disturbing, and I was worried for them because I wasn't sure if it was about to try to murder them.
Speaking of which, Tulsi? Tulsi's
still back and behind, and I think they hear you like off to the corner, and they're like leading down the alleyway, like back here.
Is the tree still out and about? What's up with the tree?
The tree now has a haircut where it's like there's a couple of leaves on top, and it's kind of got like that, not Bart Simpson, but kind of like,
Spiky.
Sour Patch Kids sort of a...
Is it like
I was gonna go with Yugi Moto, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a very Yu-Gi-Oh haircut. Does the tree, like, do I see the face.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
there's
and everything.
there's the pattern in the like the knots in the wood that is like two holes,
Uh-huh.
two circles and then a smaller circle and then a curve.
Like,
Uh-huh. Have I ever seen or heard of
And just
magic
sort
like
of
this before?
looking always the eyes like a very creepy Mona Lisa tree, always
Oof.
following Tulsi.
Uh-huh. And has Chansley encountered this kind of magic before or heard of it?
Um, I I'm
Like
thinking.
how unusual would this be?
Well, if you've dealt with a lot of like nature magic and sort of naturalist magic, um, then yeah, you might have seen sort of magical trees that are, or at least healers or naturalists that have the ability to talk to trees.
Hmm.
But if you haven't, then yeah, this is quite peculiar.
Um, Tulsi, blink if you need help.
Why would I need help?
Is, are you being menaced?
By a tree?
It's got a face. Rahim, you're right, it has a face.
You're muted, Rahim.
yeah, it very much has a face. Its expression does not change. It's very worrying.
It's my friend.
Your friend?
It's one of those seeds.
Oh, 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 Lord. Then what's in the potions? Look, Tulsi, can your friend move?
And you see the tree swaying in the breeze just a little as the evening breeze, and it's kind of doing, you know, like the at the those inflatable
balloon.
man, just kind of just shaking. Except not as flexible as those because it is still a tree, but it's like swaying in the breeze and it's kind of waving jolly jazz hands of like, hi.
Tulsi, Ryan just told me some concerning information. Do you think your friend could stay here or move with us to somewhere more secluded?
Are you okay here for the night?
And it sort of perceptively wobbles in what you think is a yes.
Okay. I'll come back in the morning. You get a sleep, and I'm gonna give it like a gentle pat, like on its trunk.
And you notice that the circles that are there kind of go into like an ooh, like a
Does it do the Furby thing where just
Yeah.
the eyes just shut? Oh.
Yeah.
Huh, well, it's kind of cute in a creepy way.
It's cute in a cute way. Let's go.
Okay. Johnsley's a
Give
little
it a
wary about bringing bringing Rahim specifically into her apartment, but she starts to lead the way up there anyway.
Gojin, what are you doing at this time?
That's a good question. I think he's just probably having his evening dinner and checking out a new restaurant because, you know, it's time to experience new things.
So Rahim, when you said you wanted to get everybody together, did you send a message to Gojin at any point?
I think probably just like letter to Gojin. Need to tell you something. May concern you. Please arrive like I think just probably the hotel room because the room's reasonably private.
Okay.
Around this time, and it shouldn't take too much of your time.
Okay, so you do
Okay.
get that letter.
Sure. So, yeah, he's eating at the restaurant that's in the hotel. So, you know, he'll probably head on up or time it in such a way that he will be there for the meeting before heading out.
All right, so do you go up to Junsley's apartment, as I think, or do you just head to the hotel?
I think I don't want to do like another scene of getting everything arranged. I think just we end up at the same place via the message. Like send a second message over or something. We end up at the same place. I think. I think just we could say there's a miscommunication. Rahim wait, one moment, just hires a runner with a message. And sprints over to give Kojin the thing.
A kid just walks up and is like, I think this is for you. And hands you a note and runs away, and it's addressed Gojin, and it says, what does it say?
It's like, sorry, location wrong. There's no, just give her the address.
Yeah.
He just mutters something about disaster professionals, and makes his way over to John Slee's address.
Okay, yeah. So you're all gathering now.
So I think what happens is John Slee is settling in Tulsi, and Rahim is putting on some tea to brew, when maybe a knock comes, Gojin arrives, right? Maybe knocks on the door or something. And she opens the door and goes, you, what are you doing here?
I figured I should probably tell him about the thing since he was seen at the auction with me, which might put him on a target list for a, family with a lot of potential violence at on their hands, or at least a lot of things that might be worth violence on their part to cover up.
If it weren't for the fact that closing this door on your face would probably kill you, I would close this door on your face. And John Slee allows Gojin to come in.
Just discreetly, Gojin is going to check the door hinges and gauge whether or not he could have just kicked it down if he really wanted to.
It's a normal door, so probably yes. It's a very normal door. John Slee closes it very haughtily behind her and very pointedly locks the door behind her. Looks at Gojin, and then she is gonna put on some tea. She's gonna start pouring tea.
You just hear, so you've learned your lesson.
Ignoring the sniping for now. It's Rob just interrupts immediately. Ignoring the sniping for now, the cursed ring situation may be a little more fraught than we expected. The Lohar family, who want the ring, let's say, have a history of going to villages, flooding the market of that village with produced goods, and then having all the inhabitants or workers in that village disappear mysteriously overnight. We currently, the four of us, stand between them and having their ring that lets them mass produce stuff back. And more importantly, all four of us know the secret of how they mass produce stuff, meaning that I am very sorry for this, because most of you have done nothing to deserve anything like this, I am forced to assume, are probably in danger because you were at the auction with me and left the auction with me, which means that they may decide to try and murder all of us over the ring.
Weren't you in disguise though? Weren't you
I
Shalim?
may have used the same disguise at the auction house and with my employers because I had assumed that it would be for the best to make sure all the stuff for this job was under that disguise, which is now going to bite all of us. For which I apologize.
John Slee appears to finish off her flask, puts it down, and then seems to continue sipping from it, puts it down again and says, so we're targets of an insanely wealthy, well-established, reputable, and powerful corporation / family business.
Yes, also their son will be in town tomorrow.
Chudsley makes a kind of strangled noise.
They may or may not also be going through a civil war due to the ring being missing, which, in theory could be good, and in theory could mean that there are also two groups of people who want us dead, or who want me dead, and both of them will have people who are used to fighting and have fought against each other. So, there are downsides, and then there are other downsides.
I see. Johnsley's brain is cranking and cranking. You can basically hear the gears turn through her skull. And she goes, Rahim, when you were researching these towns that had disappeared, are any of them nearby? What if we checked one of them out and found evidence against this corporation? Then we would have some sort of leverage, or assurance at least.
That is an excellent idea. Mariam, are any of them nearby?
That is something we can probably figure out for next week. But yes, there is, there's maybe 2 or 3 that is within a day or 2 of travel.
Excellent.
So Gojin is just sitting there pondering all of this. He didn't expect to be on the hit list of a very powerful group when he decided to leave his home. So he is a bit cross that his luck has been poor. And he's just going to mention offhandedly, so wouldn't we just be able to clear this up if, say, the 3 of us were to turn you over to your business associate tomorrow?
You absolutely could. It would end poorly for you. So I'm not going to force you to go along with this. If you don't want to, by all means, don't. If you succeed, maybe it works out for you. Maybe they decide, hey, we don't want people knowing about the magic ring and go for you anyways. But what I'm offering is you can work with me to try to deal with this, or you can be aware that there might be some stuff going down and go on your way. If you want to go for a third option, go for it.
We can leave.
Yes, that's what I was going to try. Yes.
Oh. Sorry.
Hold on. I may be forgetful, but I'm not a fucking rat. Chansley says, sort of looks at Gojin and says, at the same time, this is my home now. I can't just leave this city behind. I believe that if we find some kind of evidence and bring it to the proper authorities, things will work themselves out. We just need to have the correct pieces in place.
And at this moment, there's a very polite knock on the door. And you hear Mr. Salim? And it's the same runner / sort of like room service person you at the hotel.
I kind of motion for everyone to be quiet and go to the door, crack it open.
And you see the runner with a letter and says, I was told that this was very urgent. Apparently you couldn't wait to keep it at your room and to find you immediately and give this to you. So, here you go. Bye! And runs off.
I'm mildly worried at how good these runners are at finding people. Open, check what's in the letter.
It is a letter from Lohar Jr. saying, I have arrived and I am at this address. Please meet me at your earliest convenience. And you get the tone that is there is not a is not a question, it is a demand.
Yeah. Correction. If I am still alive tomorrow morning, you all need to worry about this. If not, I will try to make sure you don't get dragged into this with me. Good night. I may need some medical treatment in the morning.
Come on, Rahim.
Oh no,
Oh no, they froze.
Johnsley,
Say, where are you going?
you froze with quite the face.
No.
Oh,
Okay,
wait,
just
there you are.
just repeat what you said.
Okay, Rahim, hold on. What did that letter say? Where are you going?
One of the Lohars is in town and knows where I am, or at least can get people to find me very quickly, which means they know
Knows
I'm
my
here.
house.
Yes.
I'm coming with you.
This may turn into a pretty dangerous encounter. Like,
As Johnsley sort of, she's not tall, she's kind of like just like a normal person, like a regular ass woman. But she goes, as long as you stay in the front and I stay in the back, we will be okay. I promise you.
sounds like a plan. Thank you, by the way. Yeah, it does actually mean quite a bit to have someone at my back for once. Yeah. Good night. To Tulsi and to Gojin.
Wait, no, I'm
Good-
coming with y'all. I'm not staying here by myself.
Tulsi,
We
you're
might
just a
be
child.
killing people, or people might be trying to kill us in like
I
30
am
minutes.
not a child. I can handle myself. Thank you very much.
I will. It's one thing to have Rahim's blood on my hands. It's quite another to have yours, Tulsi. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. And I think with that, it's nighttime, right?
Well, yeah, it's like shortly after dusk. Like we're there's no more light in the sky, but it's still a little too early for all the stars to be bright and full. Ooh, thank you for the raid, Dicey Amazons.
Hello.
You are catching us at the tail end of this.
And speaking of tail ends, I think Tulsi's gonna be like, I can bring a lot more to the table than you assume I can.
Well, okay.
Considering the tree, I'm going to take you at your word.
That's
Okay.
fair.
I'm entirely willing to believe you on that. So I guess good night, Gojin. Hopefully
Please
Oh,
leave
no.
my
you'll be alive
apartment.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
please get out of the apartment, Gojin. Hopefully I will be alive for you to be annoyed at me in the morning.
Well, no, I'm going to go too. I'm just going to simply explain to them that I have no business with any of you, and that we'll come to an understanding.
That's optimistic.
That may be easier if you're not with us.
No. I think he should come with us. I want to keep an eye on this person.
On the one hand, I want to keep an eye on this person. On the other hand, I would prefer not to get him killed.
Rahim, if we're gonna get killed, we're gonna get killed already at this point. I think we should get to choose how we die.
Fair enough.
Let's go.
And with that, we will see what happens next episode, which will be in 2 weeks on the no, let me make sure it's the 19th. No.
19th.
19th, yes, on the 19th. So let's quickly go around the table and tell us who you are, where we can find you. And we will go start with Anino.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Anino. Once again, you can find me on Twitter at Anino Gaming. Next stream I will be on will be over on the Wandering DM channel for the next installment of Cyberpunk Red. And then hopefully Saturday night will be on the Other Doc channel with the season finale of Edge of Paradox and Invisible Sun campaign.
And then next we go Bashir.
Hey, I'm Bashir Gauss. You can find me at Bashir Gauss on Twitter or at havocfet.itch.io. I do freelance writing and cultural consulting as well as develop my own games. And yeah, I'm not really on any other streams.
Wonderful. And Connie.
There, I'm Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I played John Slee the Doctor. You can find me on Twitter at @byConnieChong. You can also find me on Tumblr at DMDaddyIssues. I am the GM and executive producer of Transplanar RPG, which is a completely homebrewed, all trans, POC-led live stream tabletop roleplay game. Our episode 4 airs this Saturday, August 8th. 8, that's a very lucky number, at 3 p.m. Central on Twitch, and we would love to have you join us then.
Wonderful. And Morgan.
I am Morgan. You can find me on all the socials at Serena Bezos. I'm here on Huetopia a lot. Be a fan. Also, my next stream that I'm on is with Actual Play playing Balik Bagyan, which is a post-colonial Filipino cyberpunk game, which is super fun. It's on Actual Play Network this upcoming Sunday at Pacific time something. I don't know. It's in Pacific time, so I don't know off the top of my head. But
check out Twitter.
Yeah, you'll find the Twitters. Follow me, be my friend. Check it out. Yeah.
And speaking of games, next week we are going to be, instead of Kahaaniyaan, as we currently alternate with Game Roulette, our one-shot series, we will be playing Fiasco with...
All right,
yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's fine. I'm doing that.
Yeah. Facilitated / also a player, Morgan.
Yeah.
And
watch us. It's gonna be a fiasco.
Yep. In addition, tomorrow we are having a creator spotlight for Palette with the one and only Unica, who is a part of Dicey Amazons, who rated us just at the tail end. So, yay, come check that out. That is at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And Jess is going to be having a chat. And with that, we are going to end the stream, and we're going to raid from one disaster group to another. We are going to raid all nerds here. And say hello. If you can stick around for a couple of moments as we get that raid up. Simon and Crew's game of Unnatural Disasters, Monster of the Week. And I have now used the raid. So yeah, stick around, give them some love, and we will all see you next in a couple of weeks and tomorrow and everything. Bye!